Today I want to talk about the Puritans and their importance to the founding of America. You know, over the years we've had historians that have looked very critically at the Puritans, and they looked at this era of history not as one to be emulated or honored, but as something that we should really look past, get over, move on. It's something that we should be embarrassed about. We've probably been infected by this ourselves, maybe in high school where we had to learn everything there was to know about the Salem witch trials, or maybe we had to read something, anything from Nathaniel Hawthorne, whether it was the Minister's Black Veil or the Young Goodman Brown or the Scarlet Letter. We came away from this literature thinking, what was wrong with these people? They were so, legalistic and judgmental and nitpicky and really boring, and what's worse, they were hypocritical. But I think what's happening is that we're not really judging those people, we're judging caricatures of those people. So that's why it's important to study a historian like Robert Middlecoff, who gives a really fair-handed treatment of the Puritans, specifically the family of the Mathers. And he digs into their lives, and what he finds about the Puritans is that this time they had a robust clergy, they had this willingness and this desire to learn, especially in matters of science, that they had a zeal, that they had a passion for living their faith out in the real live world, and that they were keenly engaged in their own times. And so really, instead of looking at the differences between us and them, I think that it's much easier to find some common ground with the Puritans, especially in light of how different the Puritans were from their own contemporaries, because that's where it's at. Red letter day in history, October 31st, 1517. We have this obscure little monk who wades his way through the world of the Roman Catholic monstrous hierarchy that existed at that time. That was the prevailing viewpoint. And he wades his way through the edicts and the tradition and the papal bulls and the stained glass windows and the statues and relics, and he finds his way to sola scriptura. And what we need to see is that the Puritans were the intellectual and the religious heirs to this Reformation thinking that began that day with Martin Luther. They were the religious heirs of this thinking, and this is what they were going to take out. They stepped out from the thinking of the pack, and they came to America, and they were going to do something different. Where they came from, in England, the King of England and the priest of the Anglican Church, they're the ones who call the shot. They ruled the roost. They're the ones who interpreted Scripture. But the Puritans said, not here. In the New World, we're going to have not the king making the law. We're going to have the law as being our king. The law is going to be our king. The law is the Bible. That's our Constitution. And we're going to have self-governing entities. We're going to be autonomous, our churches are. And we're going to elect from ourselves our own leaders. And look at what happened here. We have this little petri dish right here of democratic republicanism and constitutionalism. Also with the Puritans, we have this great respect for learning. Education should be for everybody, and everybody should learn to read. We also have with the Puritans the seeds of capitalism. This was something different. This was something different from all the other colonies and settlements that had existed so far. When the French and the Spanish came to the New World, really what they were doing was just establishing outposts of the Old World into the New World, just extensions of their empires. And even with the Virginia colony, we'll cut them some slack. But let's remember that they were tied up with the Anglican Church, so they brought a little bit of English authority over there with them. And they had the wrong form of government. The Puritans understood this about Jamestown. Jamestown actually dabbled with communism at the beginning of their founding, and it failed miserably. So we see with the Massachusetts Bay Colony probably the best example of what America would become. It's exciting to see this, and we want to draw those conclusions from this and not think about how different they were. Yes, we've got the issues with Roger Williams and Anne Hutchinson. But guess what they did with them? They banished them, right? Think about the context in which they were living. What was going on at this time with religious persecution? If you had a doctrinal difference with someone, you could slit open their stomach, pull out their intestines, wrap them around a stick, and yank them out, right? That's not what they did. They banished them. They didn't do what happened to them in England, where they were imprisoned for life. They had all their property taken from them. Their nose was slit. Their ear was cut off. They were branded with a gigantic SS on their head for sober sedition. This is not what happened in the Puritan Massachusetts Bay Colony, because it was different. This was a different set of rules. This was what America was going to become. This is where we came from. This is our DNA. This is our government, our love of education. This is our love for self-governance. This is who we are, and this is the heritage that I want to remember.